The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. Archangel Michael says, you need to pay attention right now, because this is not an ordinary warning. The room may look sterile, the light may feel clean, and the voice may sound reassuring, but underneath the polished words is a shadow you have not yet faced. There is movement in the air, a subtle shifting of energy, telling you that the person standing before you is not what they seem. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The first sign is not in his hands, but in his eyes. They scan you like an investment, not a human being. Each pause in his speech is calculated, each scribble on the paper is a tally toward something he isn't saying out loud. There is no warmth, no genuine pulse of care, only a performance designed to keep you seated, compliant, and unaware. His smile feels trained, like it has been used 1,000 times before to disarm suspicion. You notice how he speaks in circles, drawing your focus to what he wants you to notice, while quietly concealing what truly matters. This is not healing, it is a transaction wrapped in a white fabric of authority. Blessing 333, the moment you trust your inner sense above all, you open the door for divine clarity to step in. He tilts his head, feigning interest in your every word, but behind the mask is a ledger where your name is written in ink you did not authorize. There is a cost he is measuring, and it is not measured in coins alone, it is your trust, your time, your choices. Every second you stay in that chair, the weight shifts further in his favor. The air feels thicker when you realize his questions are not for your healing but for his record. He is collecting, calculating, and deciding where you fit in his chart of advantage. Even the smallest answer you give becomes a stepping stone toward something you may not agree to later. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. There is a rhythm to manipulation, it begins with a gentle tone, a crafted pause, then a subtle push toward urgency. He leans in, pretending it's because your case is special, but really, it's because he knows that urgency clouds judgment. The faster you decide under his gaze, the deeper you fall into the plan he has drawn. You feel your pulse shift, not from sickness but from awareness. It's the moment your soul begins to understand that you are being weighed not as a patient, but as an opportunity. This is not medicine, it is a market disguised as mercy. Blessing 555, when you step away from false hands, you step into the arms of divine protection. The man's voice flows like a stream, but beneath it you hear the jagged stones of intention. Each carefully chosen phrase is designed to lead you, not heal you. You notice how he avoids certain truths, shifting your focus away from them like a magician hiding the card you were meant to see. There's a tension in his movements, a subtle eagerness, as if the meeting is not about understanding your needs but closing a deal. His pen moves fast when you speak of your fears, slower when you speak of your hopes. In his world, fear sells faster, and he knows exactly how to package it. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The room seems to tighten around you, as though even the walls are listening to the script he repeats with each visitor. The certificates on the wall are neat, framed perfectly, but you sense they are not windows to his soul, only decorations to hold your attention. Real healers hold your gaze with truth, this one holds it with performance. You recall the moment you entered, the faint scent of chemicals, the way his eyes measured you from head to toe before his words even began. That wasn't concern, that was assessment. The clipboard is not for your progress, it's for his plan. And every box he ticks is a step toward binding you into something you didn't come here for. Blessing 222, the instant you recognize a disguised trap, you weaken its grip over you. His questions take turns that don't make sense. They wander away from your actual condition and toward details that feel irrelevant, yet you sense they matter to him. He is mapping out your resources, your connections, and your vulnerabilities. This is the language of gain, not the language of healing. He leans back, pretending to contemplate your case. But you see the faint smile, the glimmer of satisfaction in knowing he has you where he wants you, sitting, listening, waiting for him to speak again. In that moment, you feel the pull of your own spirit telling you to stand. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. Even the silence between you is scripted. He lets it linger just long enough to make you uneasy, to make you fill it with words he can use later. Every gesture feels staged, every nod rehearsed. And yet, his control is delicate. He knows too much pressure will make you suspicious, too little will let you go. You realize that somewhere between your first question and his last answer, you became a subject in a private experiment. Not in medicine, but in persuasion. The cure he offers may not even exist, but the price for it is already calculated. Blessing 999, divine sight allows you to see the face behind the mask before the mask falls away. His white coat moves as he shifts forward, as if the fabric itself is part of the illusion. It's a shield, a badge, and a disguise all at once. Without it, perhaps the spell would break, and you would see the truth without the veil. But he knows that the coat gives him authority in your eyes, and that is the first power he will not surrender. Every part of this moment is built on the belief that you will trust him simply because of what he wears. And yet, something in you is stirring, breaking through the fog he has woven around your thoughts. The curtain is lifting, and you are seeing the exchange for what it really is. The stillness in the room is no longer calm, it's a waiting game. His gaze sharpens, tracking your smallest movements. The way your fingers shift, the way your breath quickens, even the way you look at the floor, each detail is measured and stored. His pen scratches across the page again, but you notice it's not matching the words being spoken. He's writing in his own language, notes meant for his eyes alone. The lines are short, cryptic, coded in a way that no outsider could interpret quickly. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. Somewhere deep inside, you feel that you are no longer here to be treated, you are here to be processed. He speaks of your condition as if it is a case file, not a part of your living body. He explains procedures and options, but each one has a quiet undertone of benefit that leans toward him, not you. There is no real urgency in his care, only urgency in the decision he wants you to make. He is selling the moment as a crossroads, a now or never choice, because he knows that rushed choices favor the one who sets the stage. Blessing 333, divine clarity arrives when you slow the pace set by another's agenda. The chair beneath you feels heavier now, as if the seat itself is meant to keep you grounded in his space. His voice continues, steady and deliberate, while his eyes glance at the door, not to see who's coming, but to ensure you are not leaving. You think of the sunlight outside, the air that is free from this carefully controlled atmosphere. You imagine standing up, feeling the shift in the energy as his hold on you breaks. Even the thought of it brings a quiet strength to your chest. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The objects on his desk are aligned in perfect precision. Not one paper is out of place, not one pen cap missing, a controlled space to reflect a controlled conversation. This is no accident, it's part of the image, the presentation that builds the trust he requires before revealing his true terms. You watch as he adjusts his sleeve slightly, revealing a glimpse of a watch that is too fine for someone devoted only to service. It speaks of another life, one that is funded not by cures, but by agreements made in rooms like this. Blessing 777, those who walk away from false promises walk into the arms of true protection. The clock ticks, but it is not time you are losing, it is opportunity. Every second in this room is a thread binding you to something you have not yet read in full. You can feel the invisible rope tightening, and you know that staying too long will make it harder to break free. He notices the way your eyes shift, and he leans in with a new tactic, empathy. His voice lowers, the tone softens, and he shares a story designed to make you feel understood. But the story is not real, it is a polished tool from his collection of persuasion. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. His voice slides back into instructions, but they are laced with something unspoken. The way he lists your options is not about choice, it's about steering you to the one path that serves him best. Each alternative is made to sound weaker, less safe, less certain, except for the one he's already decided for you. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. You notice his hand resting on the edge of the desk, close enough to the folder with your name. The folder is thick, heavier than it should be, and you realize much of what's in it has nothing to do with your medical visit today. It is filled with observations, background details, and notes gathered from moments you didn't even realize were being studied. The air smells faintly of antiseptic, but beneath that is a trace of something metallic, a reminder that this place is more machine than sanctuary. His office is not a place of recovery, it's a place of extraction. Blessing 444, awareness is the first weapon against deception, and you have already begun to wield it. He leans back in his chair now, no longer rushing, as if he believes he has you settled into compliance. He starts speaking about long-term plans and commitments, words that should belong to healing but here sound like contracts. The more he talks, the more you realize that your health is a currency in his world. A quiet instinct begins to rise in you, a whisper in the back of your mind that urges you to stand. The chair beneath you no longer feels like a seat, it feels like an anchor, and the only way to lift it is by using your own will. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. He senses your resistance and shifts tactics again, drawing on sympathy. He speaks of patients who waited too long and regretted their delay, planting fear as a seed in your decision-making. But every word is aimed at keeping you from stepping toward the door. You look at his hands, steady and precise, as they turn the clipboard toward him. The papers shift slightly, and for a moment, you glimpse numbers where diagnoses should be, figures, totals, amounts. Your suspicion hardens into knowing. Blessing 666. Once the truth is revealed, the disguise can no longer hold power over you. The room suddenly feels smaller, like the walls are pressing in. You see now how each element, the soft lighting, the clean smell, the carefully chosen words, was placed here to keep you from noticing the real exchange taking place. It's not your healing that's at stake, it's your control. His voice keeps moving, but you're no longer listening to the words. You're listening to your own pulse, to the call of the sunlight outside that has been waiting for you since the moment you stepped in. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. Your eyes move to the door. It feels farther away now, as if the space itself has stretched to keep you inside. But the thought of crossing that threshold fills you with a quiet strength. You imagine the first breath of fresh air outside, and you know it will taste like freedom. He notices your glance toward the door and laughs softly, a practiced gesture meant to keep the mood light. But there is something sharp in the sound, a warning not to stray from the path he has set. You keep your expression still, refusing to give him the satisfaction of seeing your thoughts. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. His chair creaks as he leans back again, pretending to relax, though his eyes never stop watching you. The silence between you grows longer this time, not to let you speak, but to push you into discomfort so you'll fill it with agreement. He knows that unguarded moments are when people surrender. Blessing 777, walking away from false guidance is walking toward divine alignment. You reach down, your fingers brushing against the arm of the chair. The texture feels rougher now, as if the fabric itself is urging you to move. Every instinct inside you tells you that this is the moment, the one where you decide if you remain in his system or step into your own power. His pen is still extended, hovering in the air between you like a bridge you refuse to cross. Slowly, you rise to your feet, watching his eyes narrow just slightly at your unexpected motion. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. You stand, and the air changes instantly. It's heavier now, as if the walls themselves disapprove of your choice. He does not move at first, simply watches you with an unreadable expression, but you can feel the faint tightening in his posture. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. His voice drops lower, almost a whisper, as he tries one last tactic, intimacy. He speaks of trust and personal commitment, drawing invisible strings between you, hoping you'll mistake them for bonds instead of chains. But the more he talks, the more those strings look like threads you need to cut. Blessing 333, the moment you choose yourself over another's agenda, you invite protection from what you cannot see. You take a small step toward the door, and he notices. His hand tightens on the clipboard, his knuckles paling slightly. For a second, you see behind the mask, the businesslike detachment slips, revealing the frustration of someone losing a sure gain. The room feels smaller now, not because it has changed, but because you have. You are no longer sitting within the space he controls, you are standing in the space you own. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. He makes one final offer, voice sharper now, the softness gone. The words come faster, almost rushed, as if he knows that every second you remain silent is a second closer to the end of his influence. He warns, he predicts, he tries to pull you back, but his power is fading. Blessing 999, when you refuse the final lure, the chains break completely. You turn the handle of the door. The sound of it clicks like a key turning in your own mind. Behind you, his voice is still moving, but it's distant now, drowned out by the promise of the hallway beyond. The light spilling through the open space is brighter than you remembered. Your first step into it feels like breathing for the first time in hours. The hallway smells like freedom, like the absence of control. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. Your foot crosses the threshold, and the air changes. Behind you, the room holds its secrets, but they no longer have the power to wrap around your mind. In front of you, the corridor stretches out, lined with silent doors that feel less threatening than the one you've just left. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. You hear the faint sound of his chair shifting, but you don't look back. His voice calls your name once, not warmly, not with care, but with the clipped edge of someone losing control. That tone confirms everything you already knew. You were never a patient in his eyes, only a possession to be kept. Blessing 444, the moment you choose distance from harm, protection surrounds your path. Your steps quicken, the echo of your shoes a steady rhythm that drowns out his fading voice. The hallway lights flicker slightly, each one guiding you closer to the exit. With every step, the heaviness in your chest begins to lift, replaced by a growing sense of your own strength. You pass others in the hallway, some sitting, some waiting, their eyes drawn to you as if sensing something in your stride. They don't know what happened behind that door, but they can feel that you are leaving with something unbroken. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The exit sign glows ahead, its red letters brighter than anything in the building. It's not just a marker, it's a promise. You push against the final door, and the first breath of outside air rushes toward you, sharp and clean. Blessing 777, once you stand in the light, the darkness behind you can no longer follow. You step outside, and the world feels different. The sky stretches wide, the sound of the street is alive, and the sunlight wraps around you like a shield. You realize now that the healing you needed was not inside those walls, it was in the decision to leave them. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. And you have chosen the daylight. You pause just outside the building, letting the sunlight hit your face. The warmth feels different than the controlled temperature inside. This heat is real, unfiltered, untamed. You breathe it in, filling your lungs as if reclaiming space that had been taken from you. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The hum of traffic blends with the rustle of leaves, a sound so ordinary and yet so grounding. Every small noise reminds you that life is bigger than the room you left behind. That office, with its false calm and calculated charm, is just one place, but out here, there is movement, freedom, and choice. Blessing 333, stepping into open air allows the truth to settle fully in your heart. You glance back once, not to return, but to mark the place you will never walk into again. The windows reflect the sky, hiding the shadows inside. For a moment, you wonder how many others are still sitting in those chairs, still listening to a voice that measures them like a ledger entry. You walk farther, letting distance do its quiet work. The farther you get, the more the weight drops from your shoulders. Each step becomes lighter, not because the road is easy, but because the control has been broken. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. Walk out and choose daylight for decisions. The street ahead is busy, strangers moving in every direction, each carrying their own story. You blend into the crowd, no longer under the microscope of those watchful eyes. Here, no one is tracking your words, no one is calculating your worth in numbers. Blessing 999, the journey away from false authority always leads toward places where your voice is your own. You reach a corner where the light changes, and in that pause, you feel something shift inside. It's not just relief, it's resolve. You will carry this awareness into every choice, every meeting, every space where someone wears the mask of care but hides a plan beneath it. The man wearing the doctor's coat is not your healer. His clipboard carries a price, not a cure. And you have already chosen not to pay it.